Sorry, let
Yes.
me ask Congressman Daramola your thought in terms of the preparation for the election. And this is quite serious. The issue for some is the fact that they're worried about INEC, they're worried about security issues, and they're worried about that word volatility of the Ekiti people because they're very passionate and this can very easily degenerate into mayhem and violence. What is your thought as we're approaching June now? Because this is approaching the end of March, which means 2 months in between before the election.
Well, there are integral components, institutions and individuals of the electoral process.
Okay.
Okay. You would have each and every one of them having different roles to play. Okay. The campaign organization that I had we made it very clear, will run a very civil, agenda-setting, issue-driven campaign. We will not be uncouth. We will put again, one reassurance we have is the fact that it's only politicians who suffer selective amnesia. The people don't. Okay? Politicians are quick to, and that's why you find somebody who jumps around, who is mouthing this today and saying that something else tomorrow. But the people, the same way the people have heard very tenaciously in their hearts to the free education of Obafemi Awolowo. Bishop Adigboyi was here a while back talking about good things in glowing terms about Chief Obafemi Awolowo. The same endearing things, the values that endeared and are still endeared Awolowo to the people till today are the things that will come to the table and will bring them to the fore at this election. So for as a campaign organization, that's our inclination and that's our proclivity. But we'll move on from there. You will expect that other contenders also will be inclined to steer their campaigns in that direction, and so we can play by the rules. That's number one. Number two, you go to all the institutions of state that would have roles to play in this. We'll expect that they will not be complicit. And you see, this is an Ekiti election, but it mirrors what's going to happen to Nigeria in 2015. Make no mistakes about it. The eyes of the world will start spotlighting Nigeria from Ekiti. And there's and I hope President Jonathan and his minders will also put this will also address their minds the fact that it is not a battle for sovereignty. It is just that it should respect, by all chance, it should respect the wishes of the people to choose who leads them. And so we don't expect unnecessary attention from anywhere else. And that will take us to the electoral body being actually prepared. And I have my worries. About 2 months ago, or a month and a half ago, we had this stakeholder engagement session with Professor Jega. And he was very professorial, aseptic as usual. And you almost want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Of course, he apologized and then soft-spoken and all of that. And the guy who made the presentation about the need to start collecting our permanent voters card did a wonderful presentation. He told us about how they cleaned up the figures. We now have 649,000 people and all of that. And that if we wanted to collect our PVCs on that day, that they were ready. The following day, we went to a polling unit. We went to a polling unit to collect our permanent voters cards issues. Soon after that, the guys the registrants have only just turned 18 between the last election and now. INEC said, come and register. And then INEC would, for a state that has 2,195 polling units, INEC barely managed to provide less than 400 DDM machines. In my polling unit, for instance, in my ward, for instance, they sent in my first day one, INEC managed to register 15 people. And then there were 75 others on the roll. And then the direct consequence of that is that you will put these guys in jeopardy, their lives in jeopardy for the next 4 years, because they won't have a choice and a chance to be a part of the process of who leads them and consolidates on the good works of John Cardi Fahmy. You understand? And you see, this election is not something that we need to we can't over talk about it. We can continue to distill the details of it. Because the consequences of allowing Ekiti and the governors of that state to slip into shaky, unsteady hands is grim.
Okay. All right.
You will need to validate that. You will need to ask the 25,000 senior citizens who, you see, it's not an isolation. That's not a destination. It's a social safety net initiative. It's a matrix that ensures that 0 to 5, the vulnerable ages are taken care of in a blanket format. Okay. So don't isolate 25,000 stipend to 25,000 people.
Okay.